Pelican State. We outside. We in the booth where the dirt fly high, chalk line, bright sun ball up in the sky. From Shreveport down to that Gulf Coast sand, we rolling through the state with a glove in our hand. Let's go. Cleats on fire when they hit that field. Got a cannon in the arm that swings so real. If you hustle every inning, it's your time. Rising stars on deck, get in line. Pelican State rising stars. We lit our star dreams. Whole team going hit. 4-4-6 rolling through yo-yo. Out there playing that all-star hard.
And good evening, sports fans and softball fans, and welcome to our very first edition of the Pelican Softball Report. No, not that Pelican Softball Report that did the previews earlier on this season before all of this got going on. But, man, we can't believe we're already halfway through. And so let me get my dogs in line. If I don't let them sit up here with me, then they certainly won't allow things. Big show tonight for us, though. Mike McMillan of the North Shore Prep Report is going to join us. We're going to talk to Winfield coach Ronnie Abels. He'll be on with us tonight. They have a big win, 8-0 over Bunkie this evening. A couple of home runs on there, 3 home runs, actually, 2 of them by one young lady. We'll let them tell you about that. But we welcome everybody into this. And so the way that this is going to work is we're going to go through some scores. We're going to talk about things all around the state, of course. We've got Amy Petrie, Santa Mont head coach. Santa Mont's head coach is going to join us. They have a big win over East Ascension tonight. That was another 3-4 matchup, and we'll try to get in as many scores as we can. However long this takes us. And the idea behind this is if you're watching on YouTube or you're watching over there on Facebook, go ahead and leave a comment. It pops up in here and we'll get those comments on. So if you've got a score, if you've got a shout out to somebody that had a home run tonight, let us know that. And that's how we're going to catch up with everything that we do tonight. We'll get into some of those games. The game that we went to tonight, boy, what a thriller it was. It was Class B back-to-back state champion Quitman that had made their way down to Buckeye to come in and play. KJ, Kennedy Johnson, was in the circle for Buckeye. Brenna Lampkin was in the circle for Quitman, and they got some runs early in that one, but it was a thriller. I think it was a fly ball that ended things. KJ had a fly ball to center field that ended it with the bases loaded and 2 outs. That game ends 9-8. So thrilling night, but we need help from you to give us an idea of what's going on all around. And like I said, Mike is driving home. He was out on assignment with us tonight. Coach Abels is coming up at 9:10, and Coach Petrie will be on with us at 9:20. Don't know if we're going to have Coach Harper from down in Ponchatoula, but we're trying to get him on as well. And yes, as our buddy KP tells us, it is another Winfield guy, and it seems like Winfield should have a population of about 80,000 people, as many people come from there. And Coach Abels is jumping on early. So let's just bring him on now since we're speaking of Winfield guys, and let's do there. And Coach Ronnie Abels joins us. Coach, first, congratulations, and second, welcome.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate you having me.
Oh, look, I couldn't get a show started off like that without a 3 home run night, and you guys had that. Look, when I saw the score, when I saw that, let me see if that's my audio and get it turned down. There you go. I think that was me echoing. Can you still hear me, Coach?
I can, yes.
Okay, I can't hear you anymore, so let's do that. All right, so when I looked down and I saw Bunkie, and I saw Winfield, and I saw it 8-0. I said, man, that's a pretty good game because that's always been a good battle. Bunkie's tough, but you guys are playing some ball this year.
Kids have played well over the probably last month. They've really played well. They've really bought into what we're trying to do. The bats have been kind of hot, so that helps. We've seen some really good teams over the last month, so you have to step it up a little bit. You're out there playing pretty good competition every night.
But isn't that what we talked about at the first of the year, that was what you wanted to see? You were going to play that competition just like these coaches that are making deep runs to fresh. You're not shying away from anything.
Correct. We spent all last weekend down in Santa Mont playing in that tournament. That was, I think, an eye-opener for our kids. Saw John Curtis, Santa Mont, and a really good Oak Grove team down there. And and competed. I thought, we tried to compete. We were down 4-3 going top of 7 to Curtis, kind of let it get away from us in the top.
Defending state champion, Curtis.
Okay. And then against Coach Petrie and Santa Ma, we were tied 3-3 going bottom 7, and they walked it off and beat us 4-3. So two pretty good games. You don't want to say you had a good weekend when you go 1-2, but in the big picture, I thought we grew. It wasn't wins, but I did think we grew a little bit.
Look, anybody that looks at that will know that that's a big win because you walk into Santa Ma and they've got the big wall that's out there with all their state championships. You walk into a program, and for your girls to go in there and say, you know what, that doesn't matter. We're going to play ball. That's good.
Now, that's what we've talked to them all year. You really have nothing to lose because the majority of people don't think you should be there anyway. So just go compete and let's see where we're at. And the kids are giving us all we want, man. We couldn't ask for any more than what they're giving us right now.
Look, you talk about not belonging. Carly Caskey doesn't believe that, does she? She certainly believes that she belongs in any field she plays on.
She has, from last year to this year, I think she's really turned the corner. She wants it every night. I mean, when you get ready to go, she's down if she don't have the ball. She's throwing well. You got to hit the ball well, but you also got to have somebody in that circle who can keep you in it. And her and Vircher both, Kaylee Vircher, the kid we had lost last year, torn ACL.
Right.
Both of those kids have thrown really well. Like I said, Carly's probably having the best year she's had since I've been here in the 3 years that I've had her.
You give up 3 hits, you scatter. That's what we as announcers call scattering.
Correct.
3 hits there. Walked a couple, but struck out 9. And Coach Kate Hillman has that team that doesn't strike out that much. They're a great hitting ball club, and you kind of got to them.
Yeah, the top of their lineup is scary. I mean, it's and then they've got a lot of speed in the bottom of the lineup that they can really be aggressive on the bases. That was one thing we told the kids. We told Carly, you got to be really careful at the top of that lineup. We can't give them a lot, but more importantly, you can't let the bottom of that lineup get on with that top coming up because they can generate lots of runs. Once they get on the bases.
I want to jump in real quick as we did have some comments, and that's what this show is about, guys. When you've got scores, you've got something that's happened, do that. Coach Alicia Abear from Pine Prairie lets us know that they beat Northwest 17-0. Freshman Briley Fontenot with a 3-run home run. Keep an eye out on her statewide. She's really good. And Kyle Florentine lets us know that West Monroe Lady Rebels had 6 home runs versus Alexandria Senior High tonight. And that's a select, non-select, but it's a District 2 5A matchup, and West Monroe's just loaded over there. So what a game that was. So thank you guys for that. Any other scores that you have, make sure you jump in with them. Speaking of home runs tonight, Coach, y'all went up to, I think, 29 total. Is that right?
Yes, sir. That's 29 for the year.
And it was Kaylee Vircher that had a 3-run home run, but Santana Harris had 2 different home runs tonight.
She had a solo, I believe, in the 3rd, and then maybe a 2-run in the 5th. Santana had started the year off really well, and then kind of hit a little spurt there where she's been struggling. We've moved her down the order a little bit, try to let her relax, and she's hit 5 home runs in this month, hitting out of her 8-hole. So you could keep some power, even in the lower part of that order. It just makes things a little easier on Carly and Vircher and whoever else we got in the circle.
Coach, you're seeing a lot more of that. You've got a heavy 8 hitter and a 9 hitter because you just don't pack everything up and then come in and say, all right, well, we're at the bottom of the lineup. I don't think as many folks have a bottom of the lineup anymore.
Right. Well, we're not a traditionally built team this year. We don't have a lot of speed. That's one thing we don't have. So we have to hit it. We try to do a little small ball here and there. We just don't have the speed that those other really good teams out there have that they can put pressure on you with. So our kids they said, if we're going to put pressure on someone, let's try to be selective, let's be disciplined, and see if we can hit good pitching. And good pitchers make it hard, man. They make it hard for you to hit them.
They do, but I mean, I've got to think that because in this season is so compact. I think 57 total calendar days, but with Sundays you don't have that many days. You've got to get ready from day one for the postseason and for that dash for fresh, and you're doing that by facing quality pitching.
But the other thing kids have to understand is if they have a bad day today, they got to let it go. Because you got to bounce back tomorrow. I mean, we're leaving tomorrow, headed down to Sulphur, play 3 games down there. Hicks, who's undefeated in Class B. I think they're number 2 in B right now. We get them Friday night. Then we get Oakdale, who I think's only lost 1 game. And then we got a really good Turlings team, Turlings Catholic, Saturday evenings. So you can't dwell on the good or the bad. You got to get it, and then let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, that's and he's letting me know that mine is echoing pretty good. I've got to figure that out on here. I think I may end up having to get some headphones on to do this, but we'll get all that figured out. Coach, you talked about this weekend coming up, and it's got that trip down to Sulphur. I looked around that bracket. Coach Brooke David sent that to me, and boy, what a tournament to get into down there. But you look around the state, and those things are everywhere. There is so much good ball in Louisiana.
Yes, we've been fortunate this year. This will be our 3rd week in a row to travel. 2 weekends ago, we went down to Acadiana and played in that tournament down there. I believe Coach Smith said he had 82 teams in that tournament. Then I said last weekend we went to Santa Mara, played in Coach Petry's tournament, and now this weekend we're going to Sulphur to play in that one. And there's good competition and good teams everywhere you look. Not just playing good teams, you get to watch good teams, and going to Sulphur you get to experience fresh if you've never been there. Kind of puts those kids in a situation where this is kind of a state tournament feel, to try to get them used to what that is.
What's so cool about going down to that Fresh tournament also is not only getting to play on the turf, but you're in the middle of all these other fields. And when something big's happening, you kind of get that idea that you want to look up and look at this field and that field because you're right in the middle of all the noise.
A lot of distractions down there, and that's why I think it's key, when you're trying to get there. And as a program, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get there. If you can show those kids that beforehand, I think it helps them a little bit to be prepared if you get lucky and you make that trip down there later on.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you taking time and spending it with us. We're going to do this probably most every night. We'll do it. So we'll check in with you again after some wins. And anytime you've got something to talk about, come on in, and you've got a seat here on the Pelican Softball Report, as always.
Okay, Doug, I appreciate you, man. We appreciate what you're doing for our sport. I know we tell you that probably your pockets are overrunning with it, but we greatly appreciate as coaches what you're doing for our kids.
Well, I do appreciate it. And what I get these cool hats everywhere I go, too. This one is out of Bryant, Arkansas, my first ever Arkansas hat. But we've established quite a collection of hats, and so I just love that.
Well, the next time you're up around Winfield, Louisiana, we may can hook you up, too.
100%. Love it, Coach. Thank you. I appreciate you stopping in, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Doug. Have a good one.
All right. So we're going to step away, Coach. We'll finish up there. We're going to bring in Mike McMillan with the North Shore Prep Report. And Mike, hang tight for us and just give us a little intro on what's going on, because I am going to jump and try to grab me some headphones real quick.
Your voice is much better now, Doug.
I think the problem is when I have the volume up, though.
Yep, you're good.
Okay. It may have been his volume that was up then that did it. Yeah. So I don't find me as echoey anymore. So with all of that out of the way, it's my man Mike McMillan with the North Shore Prep Report. And look, if folks think that we're all over the place, look, this guy is there. He's all over the place because there's not anything close on the North Shore. You're having to go all over the place. But welcome, my friend.
Thanks, Doug. I appreciate you having me. I appreciate everything you do for the softball community and your site. And it's the same thing for you guys. I think anywhere in this state, unless you're in, the city of New Orleans, everything's going to be, somewhat far from each other. So it takes an army, and a lot of us are armies of one, but we seem to do as well as we can with it.
Look, we are. We're loving it and appreciate you jumping in and doing this. We didn't get to talk about it a minute ago, but Kaplan 5 and Live Oak 3. And that's the idea. If you've got scores, folks, that are watching this, throw them in the comments and we'll get them posted on here. If somebody's got a home run, if somebody's got a big pitching performance on there, and then we'll start getting these updated as we do overnight. But this is the forum for it, and we're doing it live. So speaking of hats, I love the little North Shore hat, man. That's nice.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I got that from you, Doug. You always told me everywhere you go, you're wearing your stuff. So
branding.
Trying to get the branding out there. And, I think we've done, pretty well. It's year 2 for us covering softball. We didn't start covering softball until around this time last year, kind of, towards that district play. So it's been really good to get on it early and learn, about some teams. We've expanded our coverage, right, in some other areas. So
Yep.
It's been fun. I was in Hammond earlier this evening with St. Thomas Aquinas hosting Pope John Paul. St. Thomas Aquinas wins that game. And then I headed over to Slidell, which is about an hour away, for some baseball with Pearl River and Franklinton. So lots going on, around our area tonight, Doug. Some good matchups. District is opening like for everyone else, right? Ponchatoula and Coach Harper, that crew, they get a big win over Covington, a shutout win, which, Covington can swing it.
And look, he's probably watching. We're sending the link out to Coach Harper. We already sent it to him. And I told him we've got a 9:40 slot available for him to come in and talk. He is always good to talk about softball and what's going on. We saw them when we drove down to French Settlement and saw French Settlement and Ponchatoula play 2-0 game. What a ball game it was. But he's a dude.
Yeah, he's one of the best. We're very fortunate in this area to have some really good coaches. I interviewed St. Thomas Aquinas' coach, earlier this evening. A lot of people don't know, but he's close to 500 wins in his career. Becky Lambert at Hannon just went over 400 this week in a 20-year span. Coach Harper, a former baseball guy, has done a tremendous job with that Ponchatoula program. And I say program, there's not a lot of programs. He does it right. If you're part of that program, it truly is a program. Coach Wickett Doyle, they're struggling a little bit this year, but won a state championship last year. They're a little young, but they're going to be fine. There's a lot of really talented teams. Some weird ones tonight. If you haven't followed, District 7 4A here is fantastic. Hannon obviously kind of leads the way, and Coach Lambert and that crew, they're sitting in a number 3 power ranking right now, and they're kind of trying to chase down Vanderbilt Catholic like everybody else in that division.
Who's not trying to do that?
That's right. But Pearl River, Coach Leak there and that crew have really turned it on as of late. Lakeshore has absolutely swung it. They've scored runs in bunches. They beat Pearl River earlier this week, I think a 2-1 game. Litoff for Lakeshore pitches another great game. If you would have told me that was a 2-1 game, I'd have said no way.
Right.
But Picasso for Pearl River pitches really well that game, ended up losing a 2-1 game. But those are the kind of games as coaches that I think, even when you lose, they're valuable, right? Because you learn so much from them, for down the road in the season. But it's a great district. 5A is tough, right? You kind of have the usual players there, but Ponchatoula in that select side, is, I think they're sitting at 5 or 6 in power rankings. They're going to be there. What's interesting about them, Doug, and I know that you saw them earlier against Malloy Miles and French Settlement, which she's an absolute joy to watch.
Yeah.
What I love about this year's Ponchatoula team is they can swing their way out of things, right? They've got a lot of pop throughout the lineup, and not just single you to death and small ball. They've got a lot of ability to hit extra base hits and balls over the fence. And I think, when you look at French Settlement, you see how good they are. They don't hit it as well. They've got to be pretty good defensively, and Malloy's, when she's on, it's hard, right? But I talked to Jeremy a couple weeks ago about that, and he said it's always nice when you can't swing it because it covers up a lot of things when things aren't going well. But when Abby's on in the circle, Abby Dagro is on in the circle, and they're doing what they need to do, they're a tough out.
Look, they go into the 6th inning in that game again. It was Dagro and Miles throwing in that game. And I mean, I was just absolutely blown away with it. Miles gets the player of the game because she had the RBI in the end of it. I think comes in the 7th inning that she ends up getting it. Got an invitation to our Pelican State Rising Stars also All-Star game, as well as Lily Verga. She picked one up too. So I'm going down and just plucking some real good talent out of that North Shore area, my man.
Yeah, it's interesting. Last year, we had LaRanja, which went on a little run, and Mickey Watts, at UL Lafayette now. We had Bailey Mackles, who's at UL Lafayette as well. She was at Slidell. She's got some time in the circle at for the Raging Cajuns as well. But what's impressed me this year, Doug, is the amount of talent at the plate. And I talk a lot about this to the softball community. I think we talked about it a lot years ago on the baseball side, the bigger, faster, stronger, right? And the teams that, had the ability for extra base hits, it's no longer the team with the best pitcher wins, right? And it's still a little bit of that in softball, right? You'll see, there's a reason Calvary Baptist and Parkview and those girls are really good, right? But what you see is some of these teams with the ability to go put up runs. And what that does is it's kind of an equalizer because these girls are so talented at the plate now that it's not as pitcher dominant as it once was 15, 20 years ago.
And it's the hitters are getting there at such a younger age too. And that's those ages of travel ball that are doing that. But let's take an opportunity to bring somebody in that I don't necessarily, we wouldn't call the North Shore, but they're down that direction anyway. Huge win tonight. Coach Amy Petrie of Santa Ma. And Coach, congratulations.
Thank you.
Look, we're looking around and watching the scores and seeing that. And I said, man, what a ball game that was. And I think that's 9 in a row now for you.
I think so. I guess so.
Yeah, it's our job to count these things up too.
That's a good coach right there. He doesn't even know. It's great.
Now, but I guess since Kendall's got in the circle there, just saying that's worked out for you.
She's been pretty good for us. She's had a little bit of help from Brentley Burke along the way, but I mean, she's been really good for us. I mean, she went 7 innings against a really good offensive lineup tonight.
Look, before we get into tonight's game real quick, let's back up about a week and tell me about Kendall and Katie, twin sister, grand slams, each one of them, same game. That's incredible.
What a proud mom they must have that night, huh? Yeah, I mean, look, Katie's a basketball player, so she got to us a little late. So a little later start, but I mean, man, she didn't waste no time when she got in the lineup, taking advantage of every opportunity. And I mean, Kendall started it and Katie finished it with the walk-off. So what a night for the Landrys.
Look, that's phenomenal on it. Second time that you played East Ascension tonight, or not you didn't play them twice tonight, but once earlier in the season, you beat them twice on there. This was a 3-4 matchup. That's got to give the Lady Gators a lot of confidence.
Yes, it does. I mean, look, it being a rival as well. I mean, they're like 5 minutes away from us, so we're very familiar with them. They have a senior heavy group that we've been seeing for quite a while. And, how proud of Kendall goes in there as a sophomore, her first start against our rival. Like I said, with a very good offense on the road. What a great job she did managing that lineup.
She did. Mike, I know you're familiar with that group down there a little bit more too. Your thoughts?
Well, look, I got to be honest with you, Doug. As a baseball guy, every time I hear Santa Ma from the mid '90s, I don't even want to talk about it. I think they probably ended my career in the playoffs a couple times. But, Coach, one of the things that I'm intrigued about, I've only been covering softball here now for a year, and I'm absolutely astonished with the athleticism, the size, the power that's happened over the last 10, 15 years. Doug mentioned it. These girls are playing so much younger than they used to, right? I mean, travel ball's helped a little bit in that space. There's pros and cons there, right? But talk about, and you have what I would consider a high scoring game. I think it was 18 hits in the game tonight, right? Talk about the hitters now. Softball used to be a game in my mind. It was a pitcher dominant sport, right? The team with the best pitcher was going to go win. And now you're seeing teams with the ability to put up runs and not single you to death. There's extra base hits and home runs that are game changing moments that any night, you're facing, especially you guys with East Ascension and Central and, that whole area. There's so much talent. Talk about kind of the evolution of the game and how that's taken place.
Yes. I mean, it just seems like yesterday, to be quite honest with you. But the pitching dominated. And look, I don't know. I think it was like 2011. We moved back to 43 feet from 40. So that changed up a little bit. And then the shark game kind of disappeared because it was that, because it was a pitcher dominant. And then the hitters caught up and then the pitchers caught back up and it kind of went back and forth. I mean, look, we have people throwing like 60s normal, where it feels like just a couple of years ago that was, the high point. So, and I like you just said with travel ball, there's definitely pros and cons to that. When it's done the right way, it only helps you, right? But the training, I think, has, everybody, and look, I don't love the fact that they maybe just play softball, but that is the route a lot of people take now, and to specialize in a sport. And with that becomes, if you get the right training and you start training the correct way at a young age, I mean, you're just that more advanced, right? But I definitely see it. The pitchers just got to work harder. It goes back and forth. You don't see those 1-run games anymore on any level, really. And the coaching, the scout, you're now able to get anything you want on anybody, right? You remember the day we used to have to get in the car and drive 4 hours to watch a softball game, and now you can get it in seconds. So I think that has a lot to do with technology, a lot to do with hitters and everything, scouting hitters, all of it.
Now, Coach, one thing that I do want to ask about tonight's game, which I found very interesting, was it looks like you gave up 4 solo home runs, right?
Yes,
and as a coach, I always say I am fine giving up solo home runs. I'll take them. I'll take them all day. I don't want 2- and 3-run home runs from walks and unearned runs and errors and those things. Talk about that approach tonight. I mean, you say you give up 4 home runs in a game and you only give up 4 runs. That's success in my mind, right?
Right. Absolutely. Damage control. They're a good team and they can hit the ball. So we just got to damage. We just got to control when they can do damage. And I think for the most part, we did that tonight. We absolutely did. They had a situation tonight where we may put our pitcher in a tough situation, bases loaded, 1 out, and we turned a double play. That's huge. Usually when you turn a couple of double plays, you're going to win the game as well. Right. So, I'll give up those 4 solo shots for sure.
Take those all day.
Yeah,
I've got to believe that does help to keep their momentum down a little bit too. When you'll do that, and it keeps the mindset going, because I got to think how it was when you hit those 2 grand slams. I mean, that's devastating.
It's devastating.
The other team.
I always say the 2 worst things is like the grand slam and then a squeeze. Like follow it up with a bunt or something like that. That's a way. But yeah, absolutely. And look, they started with back-to-back homers to start the game.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It was back-to-back to start the game. And
2 runs.
Yeah, that's it. That's only 2-0. We're up 3-0 right now, right?
We're good.
But I thought, and that goes back to Kendall in the circle. She's having her first start against our rival on the road. She gives up 2 home runs to start the game, and she settles in. And again, it's not about having to be dominant. It's about managing the game for us. And we had some great defensive plays behind her to help with that, so.
But you often see, and that was her first start over there at East Ascension, the rival, all of those things on there. These pitchers just have to get settled down. It's not like she's a senior that's out there throwing. This is her first time to step foot in that circle over there. And it's just a little bit of settling yourself.
That's it, and you could tell them all you want. I want you to be second inning ready at third. It's not the same.
Right.
y'all know that it's not the same when you get in there. So, hey, I'm going to be honest with you, and this is going to sound terrible, but after that home run to lead off the game, I said, okay, that one's over with. Give up that first one, it's over with. Now, I didn't love the next three, but stay in control, right?
Well, look, I think whatever you have going on is going on well. Again, we'll keep up with the number in a row that it is for you, and we'll let you just go and coach. You came off of a big tournament a weekend ago there at your place on there. So much talent. Coach Ronnie Abels just talked to us about that with Winfield. And, man, you're doing great things down there. Let's step away from the game and just talk about what's going on at Santa Maria right now.
Just in softball, the program?
Yeah, the program with the tournaments. How many you're able to get so many teams in?
Yeah, we had 15 teams in our tournament. All great teams, great coaches. It was a beautiful weekend and a really good competition. I mean, I think one game went extras, but they were all really, really good games. We had a great crowd. And again, our parents do a phenomenal job running that thing. So I think it was just a great weekend of ball. And as far as us, this team is fun to coach. I told you that when you came down for the visit. When we hit March, we have 3 seniors, but we have some young kids. We have a lot of sophomores in that lineup. And I told them about when we get into March, you're now juniors. And that's the ball I want to see you playing because that's really when it matters. You got to turn that on around this time, mid-March, you become juniors. So in my eyes, there's no more sophomores and we're fixing all those young mistakes. And they really bought into that and just finding different ways to win because that's what it's going to take, different ways. We're not going to hit 2 grand slams every game. I hope we do, but I don't think we will.
No, but that was so fun to see. And it couldn't, 2 grand slams in one night just from folks that know each other is pretty cool. From sisters, it'd be great. But twin sisters,
who look nothing alike.
Nothing at all. One's taller than the other one. I think Katie's a little taller, isn't she?
That's why she plays basketball. We can leave Kendall on the softball field.
Look, and we're excited to have her down at Louisiana Christian University on May 26th and 27th as part of our Rising Stars All-Star game. So, Coach, are you in Sulphur this weekend, or where are you guys at?
We're actually off for the first weekend.
Oh my!
This year we have prom. So as much as I do hate to miss that tournament, I love going down there. It's a really good time to have a weekend off. But we will be down in that area at the end. We go do a little round robin at Sam Houston. We're gonna have Sam Houston and Barb and so we're gonna make our way down there, just not this weekend.
Sam Houston with a big 5-0 win tonight over Barb, I believe over at Acadiana. Porche with another home run on there too. I thought when you were saying you were going to be back down in Sulphur at the end, I thought you were telling me you're booking it for May at the.
We never do that. We hope for it, but that's always the plan. But the next game we got to take care of
Doug, it's a little bit like a no-hitter.
That's right. You don't talk about it. That's exactly right. Look, that's why when you said that, I was like, whew, I'm glad you finished up with the round robin.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, no. We're just making our way in that direction. But we are going to go play teams that will most likely be in that area during that time of the year. So that's why we go as well. We want to play, we want to be playing our best ball at the end and our schedule. I can't say it's a challenging part of our schedule. If you look at our schedule, our whole district, it's you can't take a day off.
That's right.
So
and
it only get us stronger at the end.
One of my questions for you on that, and I find it intriguing, right? Because we have some districts and you find it gets a little frustrating on the power ranking side, right? Where you get into a district and it's the whole district's down and you're all you can do is play district games that you have to play anyway. And I think now with power rankings and how that works and, the district hasn't become irrelevant, but from a power ranking standpoint or playoff standpoint, it's not what it once was, right? I think you're in a great spot for 2 reasons. 1, power rankings, it helps you. You're a very talented district top to bottom. And 2, it prepares you for that, the end stuff. And, I know you had, I think it was it Chappelle and Mount Carmel back to back? Earlier in the year, Coach O'Brien and that group over there, one of the best in the state at what they do. But I think, I look at your schedule and I cringe, right? So
I do too.
Yeah, it's one that'll keep you up at night. But I also think that, if your goal is to go win a state championship, then you have to be prepared to do it.
You do. And look, our district was like you're talking about, it not this district we're in, but I've been part of that. You know, we've switched districts a couple of times since I've been here, and we've chose to play one round, and then we got into this district. I'm like, we really need to go 2 rounds because it's so competitive. And but with that, you have to win some of those games too. So yeah, it only prepares you, no doubt about it. And like you said, it does become to some irrelevant, but you know, if that first championship you got to win, there's something to it about winning a championship, you know. So
Yep.
keep that in perspective. Let's go try to win a championship, you know.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Coach, I love it. Thank you for taking time to visit with us. I know it's late in the evening, and it's a big win today. And enjoy your weekend off. Do you have
Oh,
a
I'm
little
going.
chaperone?
I'm so happy to have prom this weekend. You know, I'm so happy.
Are you having a chaperone?
Heck no. Heck no.
All right, Coach. Well, we look forward to talking to you again real soon. We'll see you down the road, and as this thing unfolds.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much.
You got it, Coach Amy Petrie of Santa Maria, the Lady Gators, with a big win over East Ascension tonight. Coach, thank you.
Thank y'all.
Always a delight to visit with Coach Amy Petrie. There's no doubt about that. She's a champ, to say the least. And you know, we the first time ever we went out to the stadium and or where they play, and it was just it's inspiring to walk around and see everything. You know, they got the championships. They've got the wall of champions off to the side of it. Baseball is right back in the background, in which you talked about. Had some dominating baseball guys.
Oh yeah, Doug. I remember in the '90s. You know, there were two really cool things about Santa Maria. It was the baseball program was very very good in the early '90s, mid '90s, and the basketball arena was. You felt like you were playing in a college arena. You know, when you went to Santa Maria playing at the Dome.
Look, it looks like when I walked up, the first thing I saw was this looks like Centenary. You know, it looks like that Dome Mountain
Yeah.
out at Centenary as well.
Well, and you get to do it as well as myself, Doug. But I love going to some of these places that I haven't been to. You know, I was up at Franklinton this week, and it's I mean they have so much land. It's like a college campus.
It's crazy. So here's an invite that we got, and these guys went back to got back. They lost one last night, but Coach Lance Rain and the group at Patrick Taylor won 20-2 tonight to move to 20-1 on the season. And he did invite. And look, we're going to try to get down there. And I said, Coach, yes, we'd love to, because we just come back from our French settlement trip, and he said we're only about an hour and 15 south of that. I was like, I thought Cancun was an hour and 15 south of that. That's a long way down there. But tell me about those Patrick Taylor guys.
Look, I got to see them opening game of the season against Doyle. Right, it was a great matchup. You know, Coach Wicks still didn't have his full group of girls. You know, kind of coming from basketball, because they were still in the midst of the basketball playoffs during that time. But I got to see Rogers pitch, and she's a Southeastern commit. And Doug, we talk about pitcher dominant sport, and when the pitcher's on, it's
Ashton
different.
Rogers, right? Yes,
she is different. She is very good. You know, I got to see her. I've got to see Malloy Miles. I've got to see the young lady from Parkview Baptist. You know, they're
look, they've got two great ones there at Parkview. Jalea Slaughter, Emery Lacey is there too, and we picked up both of those for the All-Star game too. Jalea had 15 strikeouts the other night against Coach Zach Weber and St. Charles. That was a battle.
I'll tell you, you know, and St. Charles program is always so good, right? They've been really good lately. You know, Coach Becker
Pearloo threw equally as good too. I mean, and that was a 2-0 game. Raleigh Pearloo was lights out.
Oh yeah. What I liked that I saw from Patrick Taylor is, even in a dominant pitching performance, they hit the ball well. They executed some small ball stuff. They moved runners over. You know, you can tell that they work on all that stuff, and it's so valuable, because at some point, you know, we talk about it all the time in all our sports, is when talent meets talent, talent doesn't matter anymore, right? You know, at some point they're going to face a really good arm, and the way that they've prepared is going to benefit them, but they get they get production throughout the lineup. It's not the 2, 3, 4 hole. You see girls every night just going off for them. Um, you know, now that
Bourgeois tonight had 5 RBIs with no home runs. And normally when you see a big RBI night, it's because they've had 1, 2 home runs, a 2 or 3 run shot, something like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, and those are game changing moments, right? We talk about that all the time. Like when you face those types of teams, 3 run and 4 run shots, those crooked innings, those are hard to come back from, right? But for Patrick Taylor, we talked a little bit about this, and for their district, like they played John Ehret tonight. They played John Ehret 3 games ago, and then they played Jefferson Rise tonight. They combined 35-1 score in those 2 games, sandwiched in their second loss of the year against Riverside Academy, which is a good team. But I'm enamored with that group. Patrick Taylor's kind of new to me in general. Yeah, it's a newer school, right? But I love what they do. They do it. I think there's a direct correlation, Doug, and you see this as well. We're obviously on social media all the time, right?
Right.
How we see it. But the teams that do everything well, produce a good product on social media, they get their player information out.
That's correct.
Those are the best teams. Like it's almost like it just goes hand in hand. I talk about it with the principals, right? The principal that is academic and athletic. They support athletics tremendously. It's not one program at a school. It's multiple programs that have success. So you see that, and it's impressive what they do.
It really is. Speaking of impressive programs and impressive in what they do, let's jump on and bring our man, Coach Jeremy Harper, in here, who joins us. And I couldn't let a show go by that we're talking about this North Shore and all of these things going on down here and not have my man from Ponchatoula in there with the coolest hat in the business, too. I've got that very hat. That's a good one.
Coach,
I appreciate it, man.
Nobody does it better than Ponchatoula softball when it comes to gear. Oh man, like I don't know how many pullovers or whatever that coach has, but he never wears the same one twice. And his combo of colors. We just talked about this, Coach. I don't know if you heard it, but we're talking about programs that do it right, from promoting their kids, getting stuff on social media, jumping on these calls, all those things. It goes hand in hand with the success of programs. Like you see the ones that do it right, they're very good and they're consistently very good. And, I'll give you credit. I say it all the time behind the scenes. I'm sure you hear it, but I think there's good teams. I think there's great coaches. I think there are a handful of programs, and you have one of them. So that's kudos to you. But talk about your approach kind of as a program. I mean, I tell people all the time, if you play softball at Ponchatoula, college is going to be easy.
Yeah, we our goal at Ponchatoula since we took over in 2019, 2020, has been to take what was done before us with the coaches that came before us and take that one step further. Our goal is to be transformational, not transactional, as we go through this program with these girls. We want them to have as close to a college-like experience when they're with us. So you will see that everything for us on game day is down to the minute. They know what they have to do 2 hours before, 45 minutes before, 30 minutes before, and we pride ourselves that pregame begins with the umpires at 4:52. Everything that we do, though, is for these girls that wear the Lady Wave jersey. Our goal when we took this over back then was to make this program relevant on the softball stage. And I hope that we've done that for these girls, both in their opportunities to go after us and play in college, but more importantly, for those girls that don't go play in college, to have that program-like experience to where they truly are getting a transformational opportunity, not just transactional. I spent way too many years being a transactional baseball coach, in that how much could I get out of these guys before they moved on. And I just didn't want to do that when I got this blessing to do this again so late in my career. And I really do. I hope the girls are reaping the benefits of that. and not just my girls, but I want all the softball teams in all of the North Shore, South Shore, North Louisiana, Southwest Louisiana. I want them to be viewed just like they deserve to be viewed, because softball won. This is a story for another day, but softball saved my career, and I want these. I'm thankful to the sport. I'm thankful to God for giving me the opportunity to do that. And so I just try to reap those benefits and give those back to my girls.
You know, that's such a great point. I'll bounce off of that real quick, because most of the girls that are playing high school softball, volleyball, basketball, whatever it is, are going to go pro in life and not going to go pro in softball. And so being able to get them ready for the world and realize that, hey, you know what, you have some worth to you, is just huge.
And I know you probably I have probably beat this idea in the ground. We try very hard in the off season to give our girls life skills, and a lot of other coaches are doing this too now. We call it Impact Fridays, but we've taught our girls how to make a roux. We've taught our girls how to sew a button. We've taught our girls how to change a tire. We've taught our girls how to do an interview if somebody wants to talk to you with an interview. We do different. This year we taught them how to do fencing with having a fencing lesson. I mean, so many of the things that we do in our program, we copy from other places, and we just hope that people are going to copy from us.
I just flat love it. Mike, I'm going to let you jump back in with him real quick, but you didn't talk about, we teach them how to bake. We teach them how we teach them how to make a roux. And let me tell you, if you don't know that and you burn the roux, you're in trouble.
Well, the minute you pour that roux out of a pre-made roux, it's over anyway, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
Yes, that's correct.
Coach, on the softball side, one thing I want to talk to you about, something that's impressed me, obviously a 1-0 game against a French settlement, I think that sometimes those are blessings in disguise, right? As you go down the season, you learn from some opportunities, and you're one of those guys that I think there's always lessons to be learned.
I lost you, Mike.
Oh, are you there now?
Did you get it? Is he still there?
Oh, are you there now, Coach?
Coach, can you hear it? Mike?
I know you. I can't hear you guys, Mike. I know you mentioned that 1-0 game against French Settlement, and I'll talk about that a little bit while you're kind of figuring out what's going on the other side. But that game, Doug was there, and it was an impressive game to see. Miles over at French Settlement. I was talking to a coach recently. I said she is as advertised, just straight up as advertised. Yeah. And to have our girl, to have our pitcher Abby DeGrow go in the circle and go toe to toe with her, and it come down to the 6th. I know it wasn't a win, but it proved to our girls that you can do hard things. We are, as humans, made to compete, and we are made to do hard things. And so it taught our girls something about themselves, that they can go toe to toe with a quality program like the coach has there at French Settlement. So it was a good game for us, and it really kind of jump started us into realizing, hey, we're going to be an okay ball club if we do the things that Coach Harper talks about all the time. Throw that yellow thing over the white thing and hit as many line drives as possible, and some of those line drives will turn into home runs.
Mm-hmm. And Coach, can you hear me now, Coach?
Still don't have you guys at all.
You don't have me? Okay.
I have neither one, actually.
Hold that thought.
Yeah, we'll see
Mike,
if we get him out.
Can you hear me, Mike?
Yep, I can hear you fine.
All right. Let me see. I'm going to check him one more time. Coach, did you get us? I'm going to have him log out and log back in. That's what we'll have him do. But you can hear me. Yeah, that happened there. So here's one thing, and we'll wait till he gets back on, and we'll finish up with what he's talking about. We saw a ball hit. He talked about getting the yellow thing over the white thing, that softball over the plate. Yes. The yellow marking around the outfield fence. Here he's back now. That'll get him back in. Coach, you should have us now.
Yes, sir, I do.
Perfect.
All right. So here's one thing, and we'll get back into what we're talking about. We had a ball. You talked about throwing the yellow thing over the white thing, the softball over the plate. Here's a problem that I ran into that I didn't even know was a problem until I saw it was a problem. They had a ball, the yellow softball hits that yellow around the wall, and you don't know that it's there. If it's fair, it's foul because it's all yellow. Even on camera, when I stopped it, you couldn't tell where it was at. I think it's time to make that a different color, but that's just
I'll tell you
something
over
completely different.
the moment that they make Lady Wave blue for that on those fences, you'll see it at Lady Wave Field. Don't worry.
Well, look, maybe that's my new business plan now. We'll have outfield fencing in every team's color other than
I,
yellow.
I'll keep you in
Look, they're
business.
doing
You,
it
you
with
make it in
football
Lady Wave
fields.
blue.
No, that's great. Coach, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, your last two wins over Mandeville and Covington, in my mind, those are impressive because you only give up 2 runs. You give up 2 runs to Mandeville. That's a team that I think can swing it. They've got a lot of talent that's up and coming. Covington, you somehow hold Caitlin Yeager to 1 hit. She's been on fire all year. And then tomorrow you get a rematch with Pearl River, which I covered you guys in game 1. Coach Leak and that crew have kind of turned it on as of late. And, they got some basketball players back that weren't there when you were playing. You had some girls missing in that game as well. But, Picasso in the circle has been really good for them. They've got some timely hitting. They lose a 2-1 ball game to Lakeshore, who you have following that. Lakeshore is another one that swings. And if you'd have told me Lakeshore wins 2-1 at Pearl River, I'd have told you somebody did something wrong. It was a 1-inning game. But talk about, I guess, just the evolution of softball in the North Shore, because even from last year to this year, I've just seen such an improvement in the type of play, not just the records, right? But there's a lot of teams that can swing it right now.
Yeah, the offensive output on the North Shore is really is really good. I will tell you there are hotbeds of softball, just fantastic softball on the North Shore. Doug, up where you are, up in the very northern parts. I mean, there's just good softball everywhere right now. On the North Shore, just because that's where we are and that's what we do on a daily basis. What you're seeing is some coaches who are really putting the time in to turn their teams into programs. Coach Leak at Pearl River comes into a job where she just has some really scrappy girls who are going to do everything they can for her. Just in the few moments I've spent with her, those girls love her. They want to perform for her, and she is building something special. Coach Dawson over at Lakeshore, again, there are people who are really trying to further this sport. I'm excited about our weekend that we've got coming up. I mean, we've got 3 tough games against 3, in my opinion, quality opponents. I mean, Pearl River tomorrow night, and then we do a
I
nice,
think we
easy
might be
little.
losing him.
Am I still there?
Yep.
Okay.
I got you.
We are. We have 2 easy games. Yeah, right. On Saturday, man, we got Lakeshore and we got John Curtis. It's going to be a fantastic weekend at Lady Wave Field. The field looks fantastic. I know I'm a little biased. I get it. But the fact that we have those teams coming in, Cabrini's coming in as well, for those teams to come in to be a part of our Fight Like 3 tournament, which honors, of course, trying to strike out cancer. Cancer touched our program a few years ago. One of our outfielders in Layla Chavaria, she is doing fantastic. She's up at Southwest Mississippi Community College. Man, shout out to her. But and even in our district, Covington has probably, I'm going to go out on a limb and say Covington has the best catcher in the state. In Caitlin Yeager, she is a fantastic athlete. She can throw you out. She can hit the ball long. She can run the bases in extremely ridiculous speed. She's going to frame everything. And then Mandeville is the best way that I can describe Coach Hemstetter's team is young and hungry. They are going to. We played a good game against them. But they are young and hungry, and they are on the ups. My goal in my district is to keep going up so that I don't plateau and they catch me. So if they catch me, I'm in trouble.
No,
Coach,
that's great. And another big one tonight, but surprising one, but North Shore really takes care of Fountainblue, and Fountainblue can really swing it as well. So Coach Nettie has a peaceful night for herself, which is good for Chelsea and her heart.
That's right. That's right. And another team on this North Shore area that, especially towards you guys, is North Lake. They beat French Settlement tonight. They come to us on Monday in the beautiful confines of Lady Wave Field. It's country night at Lady Wave Field Monday night. All the country music you can stand. But Coach Willie over there with his daughter in the circle. Every team can beat the best way I can describe it is one of my assistants said, softball is just kind of dumb sometimes. Anybody can beat anybody at any time.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest things that I didn't understand moving from baseball to softball a few years ago is like in baseball, you get a 4 or 5 run lead, you can kind of coast to a
You
victory.
manipulate it a little bit.
Yeah, you get a 4 or 5 run lead in softball, it doesn't matter. They can score 7 in 1 inning, and then now you're like, oh gosh, now I'm losing.
Oh yeah, and that's a game tonight that Malloy Miles doesn't pitch, which is interesting. And Doug, I talked about this earlier with French Settlement. I think the interesting thing with them is, as the season goes on and they get in the playoffs and they end up facing these really good pitchers. I said it when talent meets talent, talent doesn't matter anymore. They're going to have to manufacture some runs, right? They're going to have to find some ways to put up runs. And I think that's the intriguing thing that I look at with French Settlement is, as this thing gets further and further, the small ball part, right? You can't have errors behind Malloy and you can't have unearned runs, because she's a strikeout girl, right? And when you're not striking people out, you've got to defend it really well, and you've got to be able to put up runs. Coach, one thing I talked about your team that I'm impressed with, and I think we talked about it before, is you all in a unique space, but a lot of these teams are now, where in some cases you have a way to swing your way out of some things, right? You can cover up some issues, whether it's pitching or walks or unearned runs or defensive errors with, you've got a lineup of 7 or 8 girls on any night there's 3 for 4 with 2 doubles and a triple out of a girl, it is.
Yeah.
And I'm going, wait, who is this? Like, this isn't even a usual suspect, right? So a really impressive group that can swing it. Talk about your ability to hit right now. It reminds a lot of people of that team from a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we this team has some 2024 tendencies. That was a team that, like you said, could cover up some weak areas with their bat. This team is doing that, and the biggest thing that we've been preaching to our girls in this season, especially, is adjust. They like to make excuses where, well, I can only hit this kind of pitching. That's not what softball provides you. Softball provides you a different girl in the circle every day. And the opportunity to hit is the opportunity to hit. And so we have kept our teaching of how to hit the Lady Wave way real simple. We want you to hit the inside part of the softball. We want you to hit the top part of the softball. We want you to hit a line drive. I yell at them all the time. I yell it to them all the time that line drives are medicine. They will fix your swing. You hit a couple line drives and you start to realize, hey, I can kind of hit. And then those line drives for us turn into those happy accidents that we love. We've been having some happy accidents, which are great. Tonight against Covington, we had a happy accident. One of my favorite home runs, the Oppo bomb out of our freshman Ava Nobles. What we've noticed as a coaching staff right now is the bottom half of our lineup is contributing as much as the top half. And right now that's good for us. Down at the bottom of the order, we've got Faye Boehm in the 7 hole. We've got Ava Nobles in the 8 hole and Marley Blackwell in the 9 hole. And all of them are either getting base hits, hitting balls hard. We've had to really get them to understand that you hit a ball hard and the girl catches it. That's not a bad at bat. They think that it's either just good or bad. And man, in hitting, it's a number line. It's a spectrum
We
of
talked
good
about
and
it.
bad.
We
Yeah.
talk about we're just playing barrel. It's a game of
Yeah.
barrel, and the more barrels we have, the better off everybody is. Coach, what I think so important about that, and we talk about a lot on the baseball side, and you see it on the softball side, is the ability to flip the lineup over, right? The ability to extend that inning with somebody in the 8 or 9 hole. Because once you get back to the top at Lancaster, I don't know if anybody's been better out of the leadoff spot. The Madeira girl out of St. Thomas Aquinas is hitting almost 600. She's been phenomenal at the leadoff spot. I got to see her today. Great center fielder. She's a sophomore. She covers a lot of ground. She can run well. She can slap. She can hit for power. But Lancaster's been special. And then, once you hit murderer's row of DeGrow and Berger and Wheat and Noble and Sanchez, it's impressive. I know as a coach, it's comforting.
It is comforting. A lot of work goes into making sure those girls feel comfortable in the game. I will tell you a secret that I would encourage other coaches to adopt. Frustrate the heck out of your girls at the plate during BP, and they will be much better hitters when the game gets there. We frustrate them. We find all kind of different ways to frustrate them as they're taking BP, just because they're always like, well, I just want to be comfortable. I don't want you comfortable. Softball's
Yeah.
not a comfortable sport.
Yeah.
It's a chance for us to do something special. If we're willing to be uncomfortable at practice, it makes the games a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, it's been a lot of fun throughout this season, and man, we've got so much more. It's hard to believe it's halfway over. I was talking to somebody the other day, and you're seeing district champions crowned already. You're seeing, and it's like we just got started.
It is a fast dash to fresh. That's about the only way I can describe it, because
I love
you know, we have we start first week of February, and we end of eight. We have 3 months to play. Well, really not even 3 months. We have like 2.5 months to play 34 games.
Right.
And that is, first of all, it's impressive for any team to be able to get 34 games in. We try every year. Right now, we've only got one cancellation slash postponement with the Hannon Hawks, and me and Coach Lambert, who got her 400th win the other night for her program, which was fantastic. We're trying to find a makeup date, but there's just not a lot of dates. I mean, by the time you try and get 34 games,
for the sake of the North Shore, please make it happen. For me, I just, it's two of the better programs and two of the better coaches. I would just love to see it. I think you guys mirror each other a little bit, team wise. You've got some young ones. She's got some really good young ones who both swing it really well. It'll be a fantastic matchup. Look, if I've got to extend the backyard, we'll just do it here. We'll figure out how to do it.
Got you. Sounds good.
Place to play. Coach, did I see the scale? Are y'all going up to Quitman next weekend, or are you going? Where are y'all going?
We're making one more road trip. I think if you ask my wife, this has been the season of road trips this year.
Telling me.
she is ready for me to be home, and we head up to Quitman for the Quitman tournament. We're excited to experience a new facility, some new teams. Coach was very gracious to let us be a part of that. We're going up there. Another great team from this area, Chappelle's going up there, and Coach Duplantis and Hanville are going up there too as well, I think. So we love going up North Louisiana. We really, really do. We love that tournament. We did the Acadiana tournament a few weeks ago, and we're heading up to Quitman. We're taking on Ruston, West Washita, and Quitman in the tournament.
And Coach, I love to see it, because there was a time where you had to go to North Louisiana to go face some talented teams, and it shows the expansion on it. I know Destrehan's having a really good year. We saw them early in the season in the Mandeville tournament. Chappelle and Coach O'Brien are top notch always, right? So it's great. I appreciate everything you've done for softball and for the community, especially on the North Shore. I think it's new to me. And now I'm a fan, right? Every night I'm in the box scores of everybody, right?
Yeah. It's a special place. Softball's a special sport. I've one day we'll sit down and I'll tell you the story of why it's special to me. It's special to my family. Also, I'm not sitting at a 4-hour baseball game. I'm home in 2 hours, and I've drugged the field, and I've probably cut the grass, and I'm home in 2.5 hours. So I love the sport.
Thankful for me, Zan Harwell was on the mound for Pearl River tonight, and he works really, really quick. I went from a softball game to a baseball game. It wasn't too bad. So
there you go. That's right.
Well, you gotta love it, Coach. We will have those tournament games on Field 4, so I think we have you and Quitman next weekend on there too. We'll have the Friday night games and the Saturday night games as well. So on a game that you're not playing in, if you come up and you want to come up in the booth and get on the headset, we've always got a headset for you.
Well, my assistants always tell me that I do love to talk. My wife will tell you that too. They say that I like the sound of my voice. So I don't believe that, but I will say that my assistants and my wife say that all the time.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you and your team up there again, without a doubt. And our Pelican State All-Star, Lily, having her up there too, that's going to be great. Thank you for taking time with us. I know it was impromptu. We're going to do this a lot more. So if you got spare time throughout it, the link's going to stay the same. You've always got a slot, Coach.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank y'all so much. Roll wave.
There you go. We'll see you. Look, a treat to visit with, no doubt about it. Here, a couple of things that we'll look at before we get into before we wrap it up, because we've hit the hour mark on here, and I want to be respectful of your time. But we did talk a little bit about Sam Houston beating Acadiana 5-0. Aubrey Porche in there. She was the McNeese commit. She was the Ole Miss commit, and now she's going to UT to play for the Longhorns. She's one for one with two runs scored, a home run, 3 walks. Kaylin Meyer gets the win tomorrow night in one of what we think is the game of the state. We believe 2 of the greatest pitchers in the state, Kinsey Anderson for Calvary, Kiet Cooper for Gina, will go toe-to-toe tomorrow night at Calvary. I think that's a 7:00 game. It's under the lights, but if you want to follow one, that's one to look at.
Yeah, no, it's good, and I love chasing those things around the state and getting to see it. We cover, I think, almost 30 teams here in baseball and softball. I've got tons of box scores to get updated tonight, so it'll be
Game Changers, my best friend.
A long fun one. Yeah, it's great, and I think I love getting out and getting to watch games, and you see so much more and getting in front of these girls and these coaches. It's a neat space, man. I think the Dash for Frash is going to be another good one. And I think the intriguing thing is there's multiple teams in a lot of divisions that really have a chance to win it this year.
Well, we will kick that off on April the 17th, when the brackets come out. We'll sit here and we'll dissect and tell you exactly who's going to win. And I don't know if I got one of those right. Yeah, I did get one of them right last year. I think I got LaSalle and Calvary. Calvary, I'm going to keep picking them till they don't win. They're going for number 6 this year. And it's hard to find a better team than them right now. North DeSoto, the baby Griffins, they're calling them. They're firing on all cylinders again.
Yep.
Anybody, the Chips, Coach O'Brien and that group, man, they're just, I'd like to say quietly doing it, but they're not. They're just beating people. They are doing what the Chips do.
Yeah, it's impressive. And, we talked about programs that continually do well. That's another one that just continually strives. They, let's see, Mount Carmel is sitting at number 2, Chappelle sitting at number 1. Pineville, Ash, Ponchatoula is right there. John Curtis, which is another one. I always think of this, and I think it's so interesting. John Curtis is sitting there at 9 and 8, and they're the number 7 seed in select. But talk about the teams they play, right?
That's correct. And some they've won. You're like, wow, how'd they win that? Some they've lost. How do they do that? Another big one from up in the northwest portion of the state, Houghton, 17-2 over Bird tonight. They've got a young lady, Charlie Prothrow, that had another homer tonight. She had 9 RBI in a game last week. 9 RBI. Skylar Hogan has a couple of home runs in that and 6 RBI. Clara Schaefer has 1, and Kaylee Sanderlin gets the win. We'll see them up in that Quitman tournament too. Look, catch a ride with one of those North Shore guys and come on up to Quitman next weekend.
Yeah, I've got to do that, man. Look, my daughter is in dance, so that consumes my life.
Yep, that's right.
But dance season's almost over, and it kind of ends at a perfect time for me to be able to get in, especially once we get late in district play and in the playoffs. But I'd love to get over to Quitman and check it out.
What's the game that you're looking at tomorrow night? What's on the menu that maybe we up here don't see?
Honestly, Doug, we talked about it a little bit, but Ponchatoula in the rematch against Pearl River, Pearl River gave them everything they wanted for 4 innings. I mean, Coach Harper talked about it after the game. He said, we were in a dogfight, man. Like, they were scrappy. They've got a girl, Picasso, on the mound who is she's really talented. She's both at the plate and in the mound. She's had a lot of success recently in the circle, but Ponchatoula can swing it. I'm sure Abby Deguero will throw for Ponchatoula. It'll be interesting to see. I think Rael Wheat was not playing, and I think Virgo wasn't in the game either the first time they played. And then Pearl River was missing some girls playing basketball. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how Pearl River stacks up. I don't think they're the program yet that Ponchatoula is, but those are program building games, right? To go compete against, some of the best teams and see where you stack up. And they're a scrappy group. They can really play. There's a young lady, Falcon, who is tiny, who plays third base, and she's one of the best third basemen you'll find. Like, wow. She is incredibly gifted. But they're a talented team. They're gritty. They're in that area of the North Shore that produces, blue collar type people, and they represent it well. And they're going to come punch you in the mouth, and it'll be a fist fight. It's going to be fun.
Look, I absolutely love it. Stanley rolling along. They're sitting at number 1 in Class B. We'll see Notre Dame and North DeSoto tomorrow night. They play in the Pineville tournament. So we're going to go over there and just watch that. Notre Dame with a big 14-4 win. Kenley Saunier has a home run. Yates has a home run, and Brown has a home run in that game. North Vermilion and Coach Richard, I think it is, knocks off Turlings tonight 5-0. Another big game down there. There's just man, this is crunch time, and you're right. The dash for fresh has begun right now. So, Mike, I appreciate you spending time. I know you were out all evening, but we thank you for taking time to be a part of this tonight. And we're going to work our way all around, but hope to hear from you on the North Shore at least once a week.
Thanks, Doug. I appreciate it. Anything we can do to help and help support the sport and these girls and the communities around here, we love it.
Look, when folks are fussing about how come I'm not covering their team, I know that we're making a difference in this too. We're riding solo. It's tough.
I told somebody before, I said, look, if people are complaining now, we matter, right?
That's exactly right.
There's a quote that says, don't complain about the times you prayed for. You can't be relevant and then be upset because you become relevant, right?
That's exactly right. You get to sit back and love it, and we're loving shows like this. And all of those that watched in, that stopped in and popped in and popped out, we appreciate you for doing it. Otherwise, if we're not talking, we're just sitting here talking, and we can talk on the phone. But this was a lot of fun tonight, and we will see you. We'll try to be on here tomorrow night at 9:00. We'll wrap up all of the big tournaments that are going around. That one in Sulphur, that's a pretty big one. Pineville's hosting one. It's a pretty good one. They've got a lot going on all around the state. Some people are just going to prom tomorrow night or this weekend, like the Santa Mont folks are, so they won't do that. But Mike McMillan, the North Shore, let them know real quick before you get out of here where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and our website, www.northshoreprepreport.com. Our YouTube channel as well, North Shore Prep Report. We'll be starting back with our weekly show, and then we've got some really exciting stuff with spring football coming up, and then our summer tour, and then we'll be getting into big Friday night football here before you know it as well.
Oh my goodness, football is right around the corner. So just anywhere you go, if you click onto something that has internet or internet capabilities, look for North Shore Prep Report, and you'll find my man Mike McMillan. Mike, for all of us up here, thank you, my friend. It was a pleasure being on the show with you tonight.
Thanks, Doug. I appreciate it. Appreciate everything you do, man.
There you go, guys. Don't forget, you can check us out on Facebook. We're going to jump in and we're going to have some of these highlights and recaps for tonight that we talked about. Don't forget, keep sending them in to us. That's the only way that we can keep up with all 300 teams, I guess, that are out there. And that's not even baseball. So keep it tuned in right here, guys. We do all of this because of all of you. That'll wrap it up. Also, a big shout out to Matthew Sadler. We posted that on our page tonight. Had his liver transplant last night and is back home and recovering. And he has a long time. I know my dogs. Who let the dogs out? I know. So prayers continue for them. That's going to wrap it up. For my man Mike McMillan, I am Doug Gann. God bless you all and good night.